And you've got my screen.
All right, guys, welcome to our special member Connect. And we are just thrilled. We've got very good friend of mine who we've been working with for the last year and just has really uh, helped us tremendously in our own business and has just helped us understand our business. And I think we're just getting started. And so, anyway, I thought I'd invite him to Idaho and share that with everybody here at PPI. So, anyway, uh, brilliant guy, great, really just very fascinating to listen to, in
Oh,
particularly in the world of business. So, anyway, I just without any further ado, you didn't hear to come here to listen to me, came here to listen to him. Without further ado, David Hilton.
yeah. And by the way, guys, ask any questions you want. Okay. Nothing's off base. Okay. If you disagree with me, that's okay too. Okay. Happy to hear that too. All right. Uh, so um, I won't argue with you. I'll tell you why I think my point of view versus your point of view, and you can fight for yours too. But but we'll still be friends. Okay, so don't hesitate there. All right. I think that's where a lot of learning comes from. Is now that's all screwed up, and then we begin to dissect that, and that's a lot of learning comes there. Okay, the other place in my life, even before I delve into the program here, that I've learned most of my very big lessons is from failure. Okay. When we do something and it just doesn't work, okay, or it goes really badly south, okay, that's where you want to take the opportunity to learn. That's your best teacher. But so many people panic and run away when that happens. Okay. Don't do that. Don't lose the lesson. Okay. Somebody once said to me, Phil, uh, you know, you know, when you have when you have an experience, okay, and make sure you get all of the experience, okay, because the experience is going to be your best teacher. Yeah, don't miss the experience, okay. So cool. We have Jenny here too. No, we have Jenny here, okay, and Andrea. Okay, how are you guys? Okay, so good. And Andrea, where are you from? What part?
From Southeast Idaho, Shelley, Idaho.
Okay, cool, good,
Yep.
cool. Cool. All right, so we'll dive in. Phil will tell you that I definitely want to run things by the system because the success, number one, you're making any notes at all. Success is in the system. Um, and here's the other thing. People think, well, oh no, it'll be too stagnant, it'll be too something. Okay. No, I'm a free will. Okay. No, the system will set you free. System will set you free and allow you to create. Okay. The system isn't a constraint. System is going to guarantee happy customers. So that's super key. Okay. And typically, we're going to be talking about some things that most stage people don't talk about. Okay. Yeah. But so it's not business as usual. Well, we'll kind of cover it in this few short minutes we'll do here, half an hour or so. Oops, backwards. Okay. Uh, who I am and why that might matter. Okay. So do I have any real world experience? Uh, real the real reason most photographers stay stuck, transformation that are available to you to get pretty high. I mean, okay, and what the all day workshop will look like and how to register. So how's that sound? We get that done in 20 minutes or so, maybe. Okay, so I'll move pretty fast. Okay. Um, I grew up in a mom and pop studio. Okay, so and I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out of high school. So oh well, I'm the oldest, so I guess off to RIT I go to study photography, and because my dad's expecting I'll take over his business. Okay, I get back from RIT, I said I got to find something bigger than this, and so I started my MBA, and I'd already done a master's in education, and I started my MBA, and I'm now looking at computer companies to go work for. Okay, I'm getting out of this stupid business, Okay. And then I met my mentor. Okay. So some of you, if you've been to Seattle back in the day, now probably 15 or 20 years ago, but Yen Louis Studios over there. Okay. And easily the most successful studio in the country I've ever seen. Nobody's close. Okay. He had 14 beautiful studios on the West Coast. And nobody's ever heard of him because he only did about 3 or 4 lectures and he figured out photographers aren't listening to me at all. So I just won't go talk to him. And he's just escaped the profession entirely. Okay. But for some reason, we became friends and I had open access to his studio and everything. So I got to learn what he was doing. He's not really a teacher, but he helped me go down that pipe. So one of the key things I learned is what you're learning much of the time when you go to lectures and things is bad information. It's information that will keep you small. Okay. Is it hard to get bigger? No. No. In fact, actually, it's quite freeing to get bigger. So my little mantra here, my little quote here that I really think about myself is two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that made all the difference. The translation of that to photography would be if all the photographers I know are going this way, I'm going the other way. Because I'm not going to follow the photographers going downhill. I'm going up. And that's a different direction. Right now, okay, our industry is in a challenge. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you can't be successful now. That's not what I'm saying. But the industry as a whole is being challenged. Many of the professional color labs are losing revenue 15% a year for the past at least 5 or 6 years. That's a death knell to the big labs. And it's because so many photographers are delivering 50 digital images for $300 and walking away because they think they're making money. But they're not. I mean, they get a few dollars, but they're not making money. Okay. Doesn't need to be that way. Take the road less traveled, go the other way. Yeah. Good. Good that way. Okay. So what I tend to see, anybody can disagree with me. So I get blood sometimes. Phil will tell you that. Okay. He's on a lot of calls with me. But portrait studios really don't work, but you do. And typically far more than you should for the reward you're receiving. So I don't necessarily want you to work less, but I certainly want you to reward yourself more than probably the average photographer is doing. And I've seen a lot of photographers' financial statements. I know what they're doing. Okay, so it's including some of the big names you know, too, which is kind of sad. So see, the problem isn't the amount of work that you're doing, but rather than you're doing the wrong kind of work. Okay. Bill, true? I've challenged you on a few of these, haven't I?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
And the challenge is what I see in our industry is a lot of photographers are ending up in stress, chaos, and burnout. Okay, I hope that's not happening to any of you, but that's what I'm seeing in the industry. So anybody can stop me, ask me a question or disagree. So that's all fine. Let's see, who we got. Wait, Annie's here now, and Jenny, I think I've said hi
Yeah.
to, and let's see,
Yeah, we have,
Ken. Oh, I'm
looks
not
like
sure.
Robbie joined us too.
Okay, Robbie. Okay, cool, good. Okay, all right. So I think, when you look at, working harder but not earning more, okay. It's my goal by the time I was 40 was to work no more than 40 hours a week and to take off a week a month. How's that sound to anybody? But I also wanted my income to be higher than a general practitioner doctor. How do you do that? How do you make more and work less? And that goes back to the system, or systems that I was just talking about. So I had a bunch of employees, okay, because we had 6 studios, but I built those the hard way from the ground up. Okay, I wasn't delivered those from my dad. My dad was like, well, after I got out of RAT, I probably worked for him for a year, and I said I got to go someplace else. And when I met Wah, I said, he said, I said, I'm going to be doing this. Okay. He said, well, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. He was always a naysayer. I said, well, then I'm gone. And he said, oh, wait a second now. I'll work for you. So my dad ended up working for me. He's master photographer the whole bit. So yeah. But I never wanted even my team to be working more than 40 hours a week. I mean, they like some overtime, but they don't like a lot of overtime. So even my team wouldn't be working more than that. So, okay. Now, many photographers think they're competing on price when you shouldn't be, because the people that are making a lot of personal income in photography don't compete on price. Okay, they can compete on extra value, the quality of the product, okay, in the customer's eyes. They know who their ideal customer is, and they build a product to suit that ideal customer extremely well. It's always going to be wall portrait art. Okay. So let's see. If you hopefully most of you aren't delivering just digitals, okay, because that's where the profession's going downhill. Okay. And it's much better to operate on value. Okay, to build a value around wall portrait art. So even the term, so what do we teach, Phil, in terms of, are you a photographer or what are you, Phil?
I'm a
I always
portrait
like to quiz. I always like to quiz Phil. Go ahead.
I'm a portrait artist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're a portrait artist or a wall portrait artist specializing in family portraits or whatever, Amy, you said that you were doing. If you're talking to a customer it was maternity, I specialize in, wall portrait art and albums for maternity and also for newborn babies and things like that. So, so say I give the customer a different mindset than photographer. Right. So yeah. Um, if I do great photography, but the clients don't see the value, then I've not succeeded, have I? But I have to know, so write this down. I need to know, and we'll be talking about this for the, next Saturday. And I need to know who my ideal client is, and I need to identify what they want as a group, the ideal clients. And then I design my product for them. Okay, that gets you really successful. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And of course, let's build some wealth here for retirement. That would also, anybody want to retire someday with enough money that you could travel Europe at least once a year or something in retirement? Yeah. Starts now. Yeah. I mean, the sad thing, and I guess as I've seen I've seen a lot of uh, financial statements of photographers, and they don't have any retirement funds. Right? Most of them, in the industry, the PPA benchmark was showing that the average photographer 10 years ago was making 32,000 personal income from the business. And the last time I saw that benchmark I didn't see this year's yet, but it was about 2 years ago, and the average photographer dropped to 29,000. You can make more money than that at Home Depot. Now, I'm not trying to discourage you, because there's a good path away from that. Amy, that's why I was kind of asking, how close are you to a significant market? And you said a very good significant market, Coeur d'Alene, and
Spokane.
Spokane, thank you. Very good markets. Yeah, yeah. So we're going to cover on Saturday, okay, mindset, which is big, because if you think you're expensive, that's in your mind, not the customer's. And that's a big problem, because when we get into trouble in sales, Okay. The the problem with price is the photographer is more afraid of the price than the customer actually is. So the photographer doesn't build the value to be bigger than the price. If you build the value bigger than the price is easy. Does that make sense? If you go out to buy something substantial and you can see that the value of the thing you're buying is bigger than the price you're asking for, you'll buy it. True. But if you're seeing that the value is less than the price that they're asking for, you won't buy it. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's what we need to do in our business as well. Yeah, and we'll talk about that much more on Saturday.
We just have to get out of our own way.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, that's the mindset piece, Mike. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Because we do get in our own way. I've been there too. I'm not immune to this. Okay. I came up from this. I started where you guys are, maybe even behind where you guys are. So, yeah. Um, Bill, talk about the importance of the customer journey that we will be talking about next Saturday. You can talk about that for a second. I'm doing all the talking. I'll let you talk.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, customer journey is something that you've really plotted out your interaction with the customer, starting with the first touch point. They see an ad, they see Facebook, they see they win us, or they see a certificate at an auction or something like that. It all starts right there, and it goes through to what is once you and what it does is it results in a lead. And once you have that lead, it's responding to that lead immediately and getting information in their hands that they can start looking at. And you want to kind of build desire, build value for that product. And very, very shortly thereafter, you need to be on the phone or contacting them some way and going, "Hey, congratulations on winning this certificate," or seeing the ad. It's great that you saw that ad. I mean, we'd love to have you come in and we'd love to do what's called a design appointment, and let's talk about what this looks like. And so you invite them in, and it's an opportunity to continue to build value, build value through that consultation, build value for your products. And so, but make sure you've overcome all the questions they have. This is very, very important, because if you have not overcome all of their reservations about being there, you're going to run into it somewhere. Okay. So it's the important thing of this journey is value, get with them quick, answer their questions, make sure they understand fully what this is, and you plan their session. And so some of the people will go so far as, okay, we're doing a 20 by 30 for the living room. We're doing a 16-20 in your bedroom. We're doing, and they'll go plan it out and they will shoot it accordingly. Some of them will go, hey, here's a great idea. This is what all this runs. Get us some images of your wall so we can kind of help you plan that. And so anyway, so you got everything done. You get to the session and then you execute that session exactly how you planned it in the design appointment. And once that session's done, you go back through and you kind of reaffirm and you make sure there's no questions, no stones are left unturned. Because when you get to the order appointment, they really need to be excited, prepped, and ready to buy. So all of their questions really need to be answered. You shouldn't be dealing with objections in the sales room. At that point, they're going, yeah, we need that for the living room. Oh, this can go in the hallway. We need this for grandma. And it should just go like that.
By the time they get to the sale was actually done in the consultation, really. Okay, you're collecting the money. What we're really doing during the sale is just choosing the pose, choosing the expression. Okay?
Right.
Because we executed it even before we did the portrait session. So that puts the whole thing upside down, but it creates tons of value. Okay? After that, the customer journey is pretty easy. We're going to go through production. We're going to go through delivery and installation, if you will, of wall portraits. Okay. and then we're going to cycle right back to get referral and repeat business from them. So the next thing you're going to be learning is super important. I think you all can see that one is becoming a master marketer. So I'll be teaching about there's about 10 key ways to get leads from customers and probably 25 or 30 variations of those 10. So total. So there's many, many ways we can get leads if we open our eyes to the possibilities. Okay. And then how do we maximize our profits? Because at the end of the day, if you're working really, really hard, but you're not showing a profit, that's not so good. Okay. So how do we maximize our profits? And usually the biggest profit's going to be from wall portraits, and secondly from albums. Okay. Gift prints or just gift prints. Okay. Questions or thoughts? Too late at night?
Quiet group.
Yeah, quiet. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's lots of good stuff to think about.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's good because when you begin thinking about it, you're kind of pondering it and go, this guy's crazy. Well, sometimes they say crazy like a fox, right? In my years in business, I've done over $60 million in sales. Okay. And when I opened studios, the within the first 9 months, we'll do $500,000 because they just turned the system on. It's not that I'm special, but we built a system. You turn it on, just like if you went to, say, an Olive Garden moved into your town, okay, and you like Olive Garden, you like Italian food, okay, and try to get in Olive Garden on day one. It's going to be packed, okay, because they've already done their marketing and everything. So when I opened my second studio almost killed us because I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I thought I did, but I didn't. Wake up call, that's a learning lesson. And the third studio, I pretty much had it under control by the second month. But the fourth, and that one did about 700,000 in the first year, 9 months, the rest of the year. So I've done this. I'm not bragging. It's the system. Okay. Yep. Okay. So we'll also, again, mindset, vision, customer journey. Okay. Unlocking your potential with finding the potential in each of you and make it a magnetic customer experience. So in other words, okay, knowing your customer and what attracts them to be an ideal customer for wall portrait art or an album. Okay. So typically, Amy, I think maternity it has wall portrait art potential, but it's certainly has album potential, especially if it's with the newborn and things like that. So
Yeah.
I've worked with some very, very successful maternity and newborn photographers. So yeah, and they do buy wall portrait art. So well, yeah, okay, but really understanding, and we'll have to start with this next Saturday. Where do you want to be? What's your vision for your future? And I ask this to people all the time, and they say, "Well, I want to make some money." Okay, that's nice. We all do that. Okay, tell me a little bit more detail around that. Okay, and what Steve Jobs once said, he said, make your vision strong enough that it pulls you out of bed in the morning to go to work productively. And so a very strong vision. So when I saw my mentor in his 14 studios, I said, if one guy can do that, two guys can do that. Now, I never got to 14. I got to 6, and I had an opportunity to sell my business for 7 figures. And, and then I could either reopen as a wall portrait art studio more than we were doing a lot of seniors, a lot of families, a lot of children. Okay. But I would be doing exactly the work. If I were to stay in that, I would be doing exactly the kind of marketing and everything I'm teaching you guys next Saturday. So yeah. Okay. But I chose to do what I'm doing now, which I absolutely love. And I'll do this until I can't. I still go to Europe a couple times a year, so I'm not too bad. So yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. In dominate your market. And so I said when I go into these, when I open studios, we'd be the dominant photographer in town because we'd outmarket everybody else. So not we were necessarily better photographers. Like I think we are, okay. But I just outmarketed them. And it's not that hard, okay? Because most people, for some reason, get afraid of marketing. True, Phil? We see it on our group calls all the time, don't we?
Right.
Oh, well, I don't know what I'll say when I do this. Okay, well, okay, follow the script. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when you really identify your ideal client and what they want, now I'm attracting them. So if you think about Greg Daniel, those of you who've seen him, or William Branson, or Allison Tyler Jones, and um, you know, they know who their ideal customer is, and that's the only people they want to talk to. Okay, they don't care about everybody else because that's their target market. Okay, you know, Mercedes doesn't aim to sell a Mercedes to every person on the planet. But they do know who their ideal clients are. Okay, and that's who they target their marketing to. So yeah, build a brand that's unmistakably yours. Now, many of you, if you know Allison Tyler Jones, if you looked at her work, you would know it. Okay, in somebody's house. If you're over on Seacoast, okay, particularly down towards Florida, and you come into somebody's house, you would know a Greg Daniels portrait from anybody else's true. Okay, those of you who know Greg. Yeah. Now I was out there visiting a friend of mine in Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, and he took us over to visit another couple, his friends of his, who were a bit older than us, and they had their family portraits taken 35 years ago. And I looked up at one of the portraits and I said, let me guess. I think Philip Charis did that portrait, didn't he? And the woman goes, how the hell did you know that? Because he has a brand style. Okay. And then I looked at the next portrait. They had two up there. And I looked at the next one. I said, this one's a little tougher. I said, let me guess. I think Michael Taylor took that one, right? And she almost dropped on the floor. Okay. But I knew their styles. They were unique styles, but they were beautiful wall portraits. And, I saw that. Yeah. And that's what you want to do, is define your style so that you see it. Just like you would know if you're driving down the street a Mercedes from a BMW. Okay. See, they've designed their style. Yeah. And then at the end of the client journey, when we get referrals and repeat, that's where the big money comes in. Okay. That's Allison's business. She doesn't have to do marketing. Greg doesn't have to do marketing because they've got so much referral and repeat business to keep the thing going. But they got there through what we're teaching next Saturday. They all did, because I know these people very well. They're good friends. So yeah. And so I know how they got to where they are, but now they got the golden goose. Now they got referral and repeat engine running. Okay. Selling high value wall portrait art and albums. Okay. Sell with confidence and enthusiasm. Now, Phil knows my pet peeve here is that people don't want to practice, right, Phil? Oh no, I practice. What am I going to say when I practice? That's why you're going to practice. Okay. So because the practice will help you build confidence. And think about it. If you went to a professional football game and one team was practicing all week, which they usually do, to play the game on Saturday, but the other team said, nah, we don't need to practice. Which team has a higher likelihood of winning that week? See, and yeah, we don't want to practice. Now, in a sales program that I teach, if they just follow that script for an hour a day, practicing with somebody else playing the part of the customer for 10 days, the minimum increase I've seen in average order is 50%. Okay, so if your average order is 3,000, that means you just went up to 4,500. that means from now on, every single session you take is worth $1,500 more to you because you did 10 1-hour practices. And you'd think people would do it. No, they don't. It baffles my mind. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now ask yourself another question. Do you have a wall portrait of your family on the wall? Okay. Because that shows that you believe in the value of wall portrait art. Because if you can't, in your heart, believe in the value of wall portrait art, it's going to be very hard to sell it. So, and we just talked about Bill. Bill talked about the consultation, the planning session. So that's the key thing there. Okay, and then albums and wall portraits. We start with the primary portrait. We'll go to the secondary wall portraits. Then we'll go to the albums, and then gift portraits and things. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Questions or thoughts, anybody? It's a quiet audience, Mike. You told me they were going
You've
to
got
be
everybody
lively.
everybody's listening.
Okay. Or either that or they were drinking wine before they got on the call. So.
Tequila.
Maybe we'll to the end of class, Phil. Maybe we'll get a couple bottles of wine so to open up, and maybe a couple beers if they like beers too. So okay,
Sounds great.
yeah. So now think about this. All your money, okay, all your money is earned only through three things in your business. Okay, three things are. Anybody want to guess? No, Phil, you can't guess. What three things drive your money? There's a hint.
We need the Jeopardy music right here.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Do.
Okay. Let's see here. Sales, maybe.
Yeah.
Try. Okay. That includes the consultation, by the way. That's just not sales by itself. It includes the consultation. And then, we are photographers, aren't we? These are the only, see, marketing is when you're gaining leads. You're out in the community doing something. It could be an expo, it could be a farmer's market, it could be an open house at your studio, it could be charitable events, it could be a marketing partnership with a boutique store. Okay, so very many methods of doing the marketing. Okay, that's marketing when I'm out there gathering leads. Sales is when I'm essentially with the customer. Okay. It's not thinking about sales. It's not making pre-touching for my images and things like that. Those aren't necessary. Okay. But it's when you're with the customer. Photography is not cleaning your equipment. It's not playing with your equipment, not buying new equipment. It's when you're with the customer. It's photography. Those are where you make your big bucks. If you're doing that most of the week, you're going to be making much more money than if you're doing other things. So the other side of the ledger here is everything else, the stuff, is an expense to be managed, not eliminated, but managed. Okay, so how might I manage it? So I can delegate it to an employee. If I have an employee, I could have a part-time employee. If the part-time employee frees up a few hours for you to do marketing, sales, and photography, you're going to make way more money than that what that part-time employee costs you. Okay. Because if your average order is $3,000 in an hour, I'm going to make bring $3,000 through the door. The employee is going to cost me $20. Make sense? Okay. So if you're spending your time doing things like retouching, okay, which is just useless use of your time because it's taking you away from the marketing, photography, and sales, okay, things like that. Outsourced. Okay, so I can outsource it to a lab, like even printing, Phil. Okay. But I also can outsource the retouching even to a good lab. The good lab, I mean, in the film days, and I don't know if Mike was in the film days. I don't know if anybody else in film might have been. But in the film days, everybody sent their retouching to the lab because they didn't really know how to retouch film. Okay. So but yet when we came to digital, all of a sudden we're doing it ourselves, which is taking us away from marketing, photography, and sales. So it's damaging your income if I'm doing these things. No, it's cheap. I can do it a little less expensive. Not as much as losing out on another portrait order. Right. And now some of it you may have to do. There are a few things that you may have to do. You may have to get together with your accountant or something. Okay. So I block schedule that. I schedule an appointment with myself to get something done from my accountant or something like that. Okay, whatever it happens to be. Okay. And there's a whole lot of stuff that doesn't need to be done. You know, I had one photographer, I was at a workshop. He said, David, you don't understand. He said, I got so many things I got to do. I said, do me a favor. You know, this is early in the beginning of the workshop, and I was doing it over to the Clark Mountain studio. I'm billing, some of you might know them. Long time client of mine, and Rachel taught with me for many years, till they retired. But anyways, this fellow, and actually actually you guys, many of you guys probably know this fellow, so I won't use names. It's not Phil. It's not Mike either. Okay. But, you know, so I said, write down what things you have to do. So by lunchtime, he had 50 things on his list. I said, now I want you to sit down mindfully, cross off the ones that if it didn't get done ever, doesn't matter. He crossed about 25 off. Okay. That we think we have to do, but we really don't have to do. It's not going to buy us anything. Okay. Then I said, who could you delegate it to? The rest of it. Who could you outsource it to? Your lab, retouch up, something else, a framer, whatever. Okay. And the rest that he absolutely has to do, is down to probably 3 or 4 items out of those 50. Does this make sense, everybody? You know, and this pertains to all businesses. I have an optometrist right now I'm working with also as a client. And the same thing happens. Okay. I've worked with chiropractors. It's, photography and chiropractors, and the similar problems. Different businesses entirely, but similar problems. See, when I begin to focus on the most important things, then I begin to make money. And I begin to now work less and make more. Anybody like that idea? Come on, show of hands.
Absolutely.
You don't show hands, it means you don't like that idea. Andrea, which I don't see a hand, Andrea. Annie, I don't know about you. Maybe you like the idea of working more and making less. All right. Okay.
Sign me
So
up.
I had a client over in Dubuque, and when I started with them, her average order was $300. Okay. And 3 years later, her average order was $300 because she wouldn't do the practice. And then she said to her husband, we got to get out of this business. We're failing. Okay. And her husband said to her, why don't we just try something that David has taught us for 3 years? And within the next week, her average order was $1,200. And now it's almost $6,000 in Dubuque, Iowa. So if you've never been there, it's about average American income, and it's about 90,000 population total in the whole market area. So this is possible for any of you. It's possible for any of you. If I can do it, I'm no better than you guys. Okay. That anybody can do it. So the Martins. I mean, anybody know Clark and Rachel Martin? I mean, they're sort of next state over, but okay. So I don't need the story, but yeah, their story. I mean, I started with them. They had been declining around 400,000 in sales, and within the next year and a half, we had them up to $1 million studio. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Hey, Glenn, how are you?
Good.
Okay.
The Martins are awesome. They're friends of mine.
Absolutely awesome people. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Worked with them for many years, and Rachel taught with me for many, many years. Yeah. Probably for about 10 years. Yeah. So now they're retired, and Rudy's running the business over there now. So yeah. Yeah, and he's doing very well with it, but it's a whole different kind of business. He's not producing Clark's wall art and things like that. And even when I had my wife unfortunately passed away from cancer, a long battle. But so before, a couple of years before she passed, we knew it's cancer that's probably not going to be survivable. And so, when I needed a photographer to do the portrait of the two of us, but we flew out to Billings and had Clark do it. Yeah. So cool. Okay. So thoughts, questions so far? Anybody? Because we're wrapping up here now. So, think about this. Why not you? Why not now? Okay. Here's a lion. He's not going to eat you because he can't. Okay. Okay. Don't put your hand in the cage. Okay. Okay. But, he's probably going to get fed by the, zookeeper each day. So he's going to get a free meal. Okay. But you want to be like that lion. Okay. Now, but he doesn't have to do any marketing, does he? He's going to get fed. Now, this lion, on the other hand, is out marketing right now, isn't he? He's looking for his next customer, aka dinner. Okay, true? Okay. Now, think about this. If you're eyeball to eyeball with this guy, do you want to be doing a sale or he's doing the sale? His sale is he's buying dinner tonight and it's you if you're this close. Okay. But which lion would you prefer to be? The lion in the cage or the lion with freedom, but he has to do marketing and sales? Okay. See the analogy? Which one would you prefer to be? My desire would be the one on the right. Okay. Yeah. So why not you? Why not now? It's your choice. Okay. And so the workshop is next Saturday. It's going to be at Phil's studio. I think 9 to 5, Phil, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, 5.
Okay. You'll teach the first 3 hours and I'll take a nap. No. I'll be working. Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, the prices I've heard, I hope they're right here because this is what I put in for. Okay. And I think we have some limited seating, but I think we still have some spaces available. And Mike might know
Yeah.
that is. So, okay.
We have spaces.
It's cool. Okay. During the day, 1 hour talk, and I'm not even doing an hour talk tonight. Okay. Inspiration fades. You've all been to many, many lectures at PPFA and other things. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days later, how much of it did you retain and how much of it you're working on? Okay. There's little time for questions. Okay. It's going to be typically generic advice. Okay. And no follow through. Okay. But when we're doing an all day, we're going to be doing deep dive. You're going to be doing some work. You're going to be doing some homework there too. So you're going to leave with some really good notes. Okay. And I also do a follow-up call with you afterwards. So if you have questions that remain and things like that, I'll be doing follow-up calls with you. Okay. So again, we'll be doing some hands-on exercises here. Okay. We'll talk about pricing and things like that. Clearly, we'll have Q&A and real problem solving. In fact, we may do a hot seat or two if somebody wants to be on a hot seat and tell us about your problem that we could use as a case study for the group. Okay, so and we're trying to leave you with a good action plan to take home with you, personalized for you, not for everybody else. Okay, which would include a goal plan and a marketing plan. How's that sound? Okay. Can I do that in a day, Phil? I think so, right?
Bet you could.
Yeah.
I think you can.
So, if you're a portrait photographer in Idaho or nearby, it's okay with me if somebody flies up from Florida. Okay. We'll take them, right?
Oh yeah.
And but any stage, it doesn't matter whether you're fairly new, okay, or you've been around a long time. In fact, sometimes the long timers, I won't ask anybody who's a long timer here, but sometimes the long timers more stuck than the younger people are who haven't had experience. Okay, so there's some challenges on both sides of that spectrum there. Okay, but you want to earn more without working more hours. Anybody again for that? Okay. Okay. Um, tired of clients who balk at prices. That's simply a matter of two things. I either don't have my ideal client or I haven't built enough value. That's not the client's fault, is it? So we'll work on that a bunch. You feel like you're missing systems. Well, yeah, okay. So, think about in the system, people always think systems are so complicated. Think about no, because a system to me is as simple as the recipe on the box of Duncan Hines brownie mix. Okay. Now, if you were doing a Easter dinner or something, Christmas dinner for your family, I'm going to have more than just dessert brownies, true? Okay, so I'll have several recipes, several systems. And if I diligently follow those recipes, I'm going to have a really good dinner, aren't I? That's as hard as systems are right there. No harder than that. But they set you free because you're going to be doing it in a repeatable manner that adds value. Yeah. And if you're ready to invest a day to change your business trajectory, we'll get you there. And one thing I'll promise you, if we don't, then I'll do some extra phone calls with you if you're stuck on something. Okay, how's that for guarantee? Yeah. So you have a choice. Okay,
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
you have a choice, and hit the QR code, and you can sign up. Yeah.
Well, that's guys, I just, systems has been really just incredible for us. I can just say, just in terms of marketing, marketing is where we were stuck. And yeah, it's absolutely true. Systems do set you free. All of a sudden, you get a system of speaking to your client, marketing to your client, and then they start to respond. It's like, okay, hey, this works. This really works. So this is an incredible high value program, and that's why I wanted to bring David here because I knew our association could easily benefit from this type of program. So anyway,
And I'm friendly. I don't bite either. So.
Mhm.
not really.
Just a little bit.
Well, when I
A
get to
little
your
nibble.
studio, Phil, when I'm at your studio privately, I might. Okay,
I'm scared.
I couldn't go to Mike's because he's got a ferocious pet with him.
I got
So,
a bodyguard with me.
yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Mm.
So, if you guys have any other questions, happy to answer them right now or whatever. Otherwise, hope to see you next Saturday. So, cool.
Cool.
Thank you
Well,
guys.
thanks for
So-
staying up
so
late
before
for us,
you-
David.
Yep.
Before you go, we have a drawing.
Okay.
So one of you gets a complimentary pass to David's program. Okay,
Me.
so
Me.
number one, gotta be present to win. So that's only you guys. I've only put you guys on the little spinny
Okay.
wheel. And then number two, if you've already paid, then you're welcome to forward that to another event, another PPI event. But you got to either use it here if you haven't paid, or if you have, you can forward it to another event. Does that make sense, guys? Okay.
So does that mean then if someone here did not register, but they know they can't come to this event, should they not be on the spinner list?
I don't know.
That was also my question.
I'll
I
see.
think the spinner wheels, I understand, is the people on this call. Is that true?
Yeah, but it's for this class specifically.
Yeah.
Unless they've already paid for this class, then
Yeah.
that forwards to another class. Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure. I don't know if everybody here, was thinking they're going or want to go, but
Okay.
The idea of the spinning wheel is to get them to come to the class.
Mhm.
That's kind of the
That's the
point.
hope.
That's the hope. Well, everybody on
spin the
here,
wheels. Spin the
everybody
wheel.
on here except me is on the wheel because I have the keys to the building, so you can't do this without me. So
you want to share the screen?
I can share the screen. Hold on
I
here.
gotta stop sharing the screen. Okay, somehow here.
All right, here we go.
My stopping button.
There we go. All right, so Amy, Jen, Mike, Andrea, Jenny B, Robbie, Annie, and Glenn. That's everybody, right?
Should be
All
8
right.
people.
That's 8 people.
Yep.
All right. I think we click this to spin. Let's see who's the winner. Woo!
I'm getting dizzy.
And it's Robbie.
Yay.
Woohoo!
All right, Robbie.
Congrats.
Fun.
Are
So,
you there,
Robbie,
Robbie?
if you have not registered,
He has.
he has. Okay, well then he can apply that to a future event. So, or should we just? I don't know. Should we
Spin
do
a-
it one more time?
Spin a second choice.
Second, if he can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, this will be the runner-up if Robbie can't do this.
Robbie's already signed up for the class, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Jen's second.
Second. Okay.
I hate to say this, Robbie, but I hope you can't.
Okay, that's enough. So we have Robbie's our first, and he's already registered, so you can apply that to your next PPI event. So
Cool.
anyway, awesome. Well, cool. Hey, I thank
Bye.
you for coming, David. Thank you for coming and talk to us. I know it's late at night now where you're at, but I appreciate you taking the time and appreciate all of you guys coming to this. And
Happy to do it. I love to do it. I do so believe it in this profession, and I think it's going the wrong direction, unfortunately. And I think it's going to be leaders like you guys who can help the profession get back to, its long lost status over time. So yeah, and we know it's possible because I've taught in pretty much every state in the country. I just got Arkansas this recently, and I can't think of what other states I have not taught in. So, and I've taught in most of the provinces in Canada and Australia and New Zealand and UK. So this stuff is proven to work, and that's what we'll be teaching you. So, cool.
well,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. Thank
David.
you.
well,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
See you guys in a week.